I'm all up close. Okay. Um. Right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I had to do a part two because here's the thing. I shared with you what to do, but sometimes, I don't know about you, but I need to see an example so I know what the heck you want me to do. So here's the thing. I told you to do your life wheel, okay? And figure out two, maybe three areas that you want to focus on. I also said, write down, why are you where you are? What happened? What's there? Write it down. The other key piece is once you've written things down, what I want you to do is answer that. What does success look like for me? What does it look like if it was the absolute best, if it was the most outstanding? Write down what that is. It might look different. It's going to look different for everybody, but what does it look like, sound like, feel like? So I mentioned that for mine, one of mine is physical. So this way you have an example. So one of mine is physical well-being. I was in a car accident January of this year. It really did a number on my physical health. I haven't been able to be as active as I would like to be. There's all kinds of things that go along with that delight of basically hurting for 7 months to do much. And suddenly, I want you to think for a second, 7 months of not being able to walk or do more than 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, so just think about that and what that's going to do for you and do to you. That's where I'm at. And so I had to ask myself, one, okay, so why am I where I'm at? Well, fortunately for me, I can be real honest with myself. It was a car accident. Now, super honest, I also wasn't doing as much as I would like to have before then, but I was slowly making progress towards some goals on being far more active and having more strength and more stamina. But the car accident derailed everything. And well, what do I know about my physical well being? Whenever any of us is trying to work on our physical well being, we have exercise and diet. Those are two key pieces. But then there's a piece that I think so many of us forget, and that's our mental attitude, our mental and emotional outlook related to both of those things, exercise and diet. Is there something that is going on that's connected to either one of those so that it's preventing us? Is it an attitude? Is it a belief? Is it what is there? And so I stopped and looked at that and said, okay, so this is where I am right now. Well, where do I want to be? So this is what I put down just so that you have some sort of idea of what it is that I'm talking about. Again, it's going to look different for you because yours may not be physical well-being. You could have put spiritual well-being. You could have done relationships. You could have done a specific relationship, career, all of that. But I listed out like four things that if like these four areas, these four things would propel me forward, right, to that outstanding, right, for me, that would put me in outstanding under physical well-being. I said, one, exercise regularly. Like, we got to get to where that's consistent. Consistency is going to be the key piece. So I said, well, I need to exercise regularly. Well, what does that look like for me? Well, I actually really enjoy walking. I enjoy hiking. I don't live somewhere where that's really something to do. I kind of live in a suburban area. So walking around the neighborhood just doesn't excite me at all. But nonetheless, if I want to walk more, so I stopped. I did some research real quick, which is, well, I said, well, how many steps a day would I need to have to be considered, that's considered like a healthy number of steps? Yeah, 10,000. Okay, so this number I've heard before. Okay, so awesome. So if I wanted to work towards 10,000 steps a day, what do I need to have? If that's my goal, like if that's going to be something that's for me meaningful, well, getting to 10,000 steps a day. Okay, I have no idea how many steps I make today. That's going to be something I'm going to need to figure out. And I want to throw in some sort of resistance weight training, right? So I'm building muscle because that's going to be really important for me is building back muscle, building back stamina, building back strength. So for me to move to outstanding, exercising regularly, consistently, let's look at walking because it's something that I actually enjoy doing and throw in some resistance. I did a lot of that with physical therapy. I kind of like that. I have some stuff. I actually know what to do with that. Yay. Second thing, let's look at diet. But it's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. So I was like, well, what's one thing that if I did this one thing that would help me shift my perspective on my diet? I was like, well, really wouldn't need to eat more fruits and vegetables. I kind of only like so many fruits and vegetables. Just is. So I need to find a way to increase that. I don't know what the answer to that is. Right now, this is just what would shift my perspective, what would help me move forward in this area for me. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do some digging in that one. I'm gonna have to figure out what is it that I'm gonna need to do to put that into my diet. Is it gonna be literally eating them? Is it gonna be a shake? Because I like a good shake, I like a good smoothie. Um, is it gonna be some sort of powder? Is it gonna be, because I also, like I have to think about my lifestyle and what I have going on and ease and how easy it needs to be. So that's something that I'm gonna look into. Okay, so then the third one is weight. Like kind of a goal for me is not necessarily the number on the scale, but a lot of times it's how my clothes fit. And so I put a couple of clothing sizes on here the closer I get to those, I would feel like I have progress, right? In terms of regaining and being able to regain my health. Okay. And then this is one that a lot of us forget about when we start doing anything connected to our weight or our health, exercise. And that is, I wrote down, I need to reevaluate and really look at my emotional relationship, both with food and exercise. Due to just some circumstances within my own life, I know that I have a tendency to be an emotional eater. I have a previous relationship that was very toxic, and I used food, right, as that was my source of comfort. That was my solution, if you will, for dealing with that emotional trauma. And so I need to look at those patterns and see if any of those are still present and how do I break that pattern. So I kind of made this list. This is what I was talking about in terms of what does success look like for me. I've literally created 4 things, 4 areas that I can break it down and look at. And these are actions that I can take to help me move that needle forward. Over the course of time, I have not put a timeline on this. Once I do that, that's called a goal. That's part of what next Saturday we'll look at. But I wanted you to get an understanding of what to do this week. Now, I had some time. I'm very fortunate. My delightful, wonderful husband took the 7-year-old who was crawling on the floor to get in here out to the park. So I had some time to do this now. And that means that I could share with you so that you could see. Again, some of you who don't like to journal, I hear you, but this is a visual that's really helpful to see. This part where I'm asking you to write things down, write it down, the thought process, type it up, whatever works for you is fine by me. But what I want you to see is that taking the time to really think, what is it that I'm unhappy with right now? What is the problem right now? And then stopping and saying, okay, if I'm at my most outstanding, what does that look like? And breaking it down into chunks for yourself that works for you. I did another one because I selected two. I mentioned I cheated a little bit and threw it all under one relationship. And so I wrote down, I just made a list here of things that matter that I can do. And I put frequency because it's connected to relationships. So it's kind of how often do I get to do these things? So I hope this gives you some help and some guidance on what did Kathleen mean when she said to write down what and what am I doing? So I'm hoping this will help you. I can't wait to see you next Saturday as we start to dive in when we're figuring our lives out, when we're figuring out the stuff of our lives. How do we actually do that? And this part is step one. And don't make it overwhelming. If all you can do is pick one area, pick one area. It's okay. We're going to shift and change as the year goes on, but pick one thing. All right. I hope this helped you. I'll see y'all Saturday.